Hello friends, David Newby here, author of Beyond Billions and creator of the Solomon Wisdom Society. Today is another exciting episode of Trillionaire Tip Tuesday. I am here at Henry Ford Estate. I want to tell you about Trillionaire Tip Tuesday. You may know King Solomon as a Jewish king or the writer or King David's son, very wise, very rich king. What you probably may not know is that in today's money, he created over $4 trillion of wealth, $2 trillion of gold holdings alone. And he wrote the book of Proverbs, which is all about how you can have your most successful life possible. And that's in the area of relationships, wealth, and health. So today's Trillionaire tip comes to you from Proverbs 25, 4 and 5. And that says, remove the impurity from silver, and the sterling will be ready for the silversmith. Remove the wicked from the king's court, and his throne will be established by justice. So I'm here at Henry Ford Estates, where I had my first date with my wife, where I proposed to my wife, and where we got married. I'm sitting right next to these life-size statues of Henry Ford and his wife. I just watched the movie Ford versus Ferrari a couple weeks ago. Watched an interview that Jay Leno did with Alan Mulally about how he turned Ford around, which is really a good book, by the way, American Icon. I highly recommend you read it. And it just really struck me. You know, sometimes there are problems with leadership, and sometimes the wrong people start getting around you or work their way to be around you. That actually happened at Ford. That was a big part of how Alan Mulally turned it around. There's a lot of backstabbing and backbiting and making someone else look bad to get promotions in Ford. And that over many generations, over many decades, had become the way to get ahead in Ford. And so Alan Mulally really changed that culture. So I wouldn't say that people were being wicked, but they were not just letting their good works, doing things with excellence, get them promotions. They felt like they had to make someone else look bad as well. And so that could be an example of, having to remove sometimes either impurities or actual people. So I'd encourage you, think about your own life. What habits might you have that you need to remove that are not serving your purposes? Because remember, when you remove the impurity from silver, then the sterling is ready for the silversmith. You can make all kinds of things out of sterling silver. You can make plates, you can make cups, you can even make weapons, you can make armor, you can make all kinds of useful tools, but you need pure silver to do that. So I'd encourage you also even look at what people might you need to remove from your life. In the last 2 months, I've had I would have to say 3 or 4 people that have removed themselves from my life. And some of them removed themselves, some of them I removed. And, I'm just really glad about that because I am ready to do great things. If you're watching this, you're probably an entrepreneur and you want to do great things with your life as well. And so if there are people in your life, maybe you've been around them a long time, maybe you've been friends with them since you were a kid, maybe they're even a relative and you just hang out with them a lot. You're not being unloyal to stop hanging out with somebody. You can honor the time you spent together and be strategic and start hanging around people doing greater things in order for you to do greater things. They say that you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. I interviewed the second billionaire for my show Wisdom to Wealth in the last week. And I get invited to speak to billionaires pretty regularly these days. So I don't say that to impress you. I say that to say, I want to have great influence with them, and I realize a key element of me having greater influence with them, being of more use to them, is removing habits and people from my life that no longer serve me. So I encourage you, make a list of what habits do you have that don't serve you, and don't just make a plan to remove them, make a plan to replace those habits with better habits. Same thing with people. Say, for example, I'll tell you one of mine. I struggle to stay up late. So it's not enough for me to go to bed by midnight. I'd like to go to bed by 9 p.m. That's when I normally get tired. And if I don't go to bed at 9:30, then I'm up till midnight. So it's not enough to just say I'm not going to stay up till 2 in the morning. It's like, hey, I'm going to go to bed at 9. That's an example of replacing a habit with another habit. People, I'm making a list of who I know, which billionaires, which people doing $50, $100 million a year companies that I want to spend more time with and learn from and sharpen them and allow them to sharpen me, because that's what I want to do, is build a multi-$100 million company. So those are the kind of people I want to be hanging out with. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Think about which people you need to remove from your life, and then which people would you like to spend more time with. Now, you don't have to know exactly what person you're going to replace someone with. You sometimes need to, if you have your hand full, you got to release what's in your hand to have room in your hand for something new to be put into your hand. So think about that with your relationships. Oftentimes in faith, you need to let go of something that doesn't serve you anymore, or a person that doesn't serve you anymore, in order for new people to come into your life. So I hope this has been encouraging for you. Remember, King Solomon used these principles to create multiple trillions of dollars of wealth, and he had influence. Like, he was the most sought after advisor around basically the whole world at the time. People, other kings, other business people from all over the world came to get an audience with him, routinely brought him $500 million gifts. Those are basically his consulting fees, just to learn from his wisdom. So look to add more value to the marketplace, look to add more value to people in your relationships, your family, your friends. And I'm excited to see your greater usefulness that comes out of you refining yourself. Let me know what your biggest takeaways were from this video. I'd love to hear what kind of topics that we've covered. I think this is our 5th episode now of Trillionaire Tip Tuesday or Thursday. Let me know what your biggest takeaways were and what topics you'd like me to cover more of, and I will do that in future episodes. God bless you, friend. I encourage you to realize every day you're leaving a legacy. The only question is, how intentional of a legacy will you build? So I encourage you to build a legacy that lasts for multiple generations, and do that wielding King Solomon's trillionaire wisdom. Bye for now.